Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amira and I'm a Jungian psychoanalyst and a pleni-integrative psychosomatotherapist. I'm also a family therapist, coach and mediator. In my videos, I share my knowledge, my personal and professional skills to make you aware of a subject that I will present you. I will explain the problem, the consequences, and I will suggest some solution related to this. So let's go. Today, I'm going to talk about procrastination. What is it? Procrastination is a tendency to systematically put off until the following day tasks that could be done on that very day. In other words, it's putting off actions until later. I want to make it clear that procrastination is not a disease, it's a term used in psychology to describe this behavior. We put things off telling ourselves that we'll do them later, but often the actions that need to be taken are replaced by secondary and non-urgent occupations. I have chosen this topic to raise awareness and offer solutions, but also because many people confuse procrastination with laziness. Let's see the difference. As you know, the lazy person is into inaction. Fact of not doing anything doesn't bother. There is no questioning because it's not a problem for this person. Can take pleasure in being in this behavior. Avoids anything that requires energy and doesn't like to make efforts. Gives little or no importance to productive activity. The lazy person doesn't necessarily expect results. The procrastinator may be inactive, but he is often in the act of doing something other than what's set out to do. The procrastinator is disturbed. It's a problem and asks himself a lot of questions and feels guilty. Doesn't like being in this behavior and looks for solutions to get out of it. Likes to put in a lot of energy and effort. Gives too much importance on activity, anticipates too much by analyzing all the possible consequences of the task. The procrastinator finds it difficult to get down to work, especially when it doesn't get positive and immediate results. He could be perfectionist. Let's see the reasons of this behavior. Several factors can lead to procrastination. Let's start with the psychological factors. They are negative thoughts, which are pre-established and dysfunctional assumptions. These are our own inaccurate judgments about our ability to complete a task. In other words, these are the famous sentences that go round and round in our heads, such as, I can't do it, I'm rubbish, maybe it's not for me. This is due to doubts and difficulty in making a decision due to a lack of self-confidence. There are many questions such as, I know I should do it, but I don't know where to start. Or, how do I go about it? What should I do to get there? The brain is thinking about all these questions and requires energy. So it can lead to mental tiredness, which will lead to passivity and postponement of tasks. There is also stress and anxiety that can be generated by the idea of this activity and which leads to avoiding it as long as possible. Inadequate methods of organization and time management can also delay the achievement of a goal. For example, when we say to ourselves, I don't have time or I'm poorly organized. Next, let's talk about emotional factors, starting with different fears, such as fear of failure, fear of success, fear of other people's opinion, fear of change, fear of the unknown. We often talk about fear, but we forget to say that procrastination can also be due to sadness, for example, following a bereavement or a heartbreak, or to anger that blocks and prevents us from moving forward. There are also biological factors. Let's start with our brain's autonomy. The amygdala and the cingulate cortex are two areas that are activated when making a decision. The amygdala warns us of possible dangers, and the cingulate cortex will analyze the data and tell us what to do. People with a more developed amygdala would be the ones who procrastinate the most because they would see more negative consequences to their actions. In addition, the imbalance between amygdala and cingulate cortex makes decision making more difficult for these people. Physical exhaustion can also be the cause of procrastination. This can be due to a lack of sleep or its poor quality, but also due to hormonal disorders such as thyroid disorders or vitamin deficiency or intense physical activity or other health problems. Then there are economic or material factors. For example, when you say to yourself, I would like to start, but I have neither the money nor the equipment to do so. Environmental factors, such as the weather, which can affect the mood, or distractions, such as social networks or games, can lead to postponing tasks. There are also other disruptive elements coming from outside. For example, a phone call or an unexpected visit, which is timely serves as an excuse to postpone tasks. And finally, procrastination can be due to the negative aspects of the task itself. For example, the task may be complex and difficult to complete. It can also take longer than expected. For example, when you think that filling in a paper only takes 5 minutes and you realize at the end that it took 50 minutes because you had to look for details on other papers. It can also be boring and you can put it off and move on to another more fun task. But then it will often be secondary and not priority one. Let's see right now the consequences of procrastination. To tell you about the consequences, I present you the vicious circle of procrastination. Procrastination, as you know, leads to a lack of results, which will cause a feeling of guilt and frustration, generating stress and anxiety, causing self-doubt, low self-esteem, loss of self-confidence, comforting limiting factors such as negative thoughts or emotion, creating a new cycle of procrastination. This new cycle of procrastination will further comfort the lack of results, feelings of guilt and frustration, stress and anxiety, doubt, low self esteem, and loss of confidence, further comforting the limiting factors, creating a new cycle of procrastination. There are, of course, other consequences such as deterioration in family and work relationships, shame, low self esteem. The more cycles there are, the more resistance and repetition there will be. So let's move towards solutions. It's here in my psychotherapy office that I will tell you the solution. I will suggest you several solutions, but choose the one that best fits your needs. As far as negative thoughts and psychological factors are concerned, at first you should not try to fight against them, but rather accept their presence. These thoughts or sentences will be essential for a good reflection and introspection. Write down on a piece of paper the negative sentences you say to yourself before putting off a task. Next, try to identify your reason for postponing when you are planning to work. Is it stress, boredom, discouragement, underestimation, time? Identifying your reasons will make it easier for you to realize that you are in procrastination mode. Adopt organizational and time management methods that are better suited to your situation. Here's some organizational and time management methods. First, define your priorities. For example, by asking yourself, what activities should you do first and what is most important to you? This will enable you to distinguish between priority activities and secondary activities so as not to be disturbed. Among all the priority activities that you have defined, set yourself one or two main activities that are simple and achievable for you. Don't overload yourself. Don't set the bar too high Because if you don't reach it, you may get frustrated and stop moving forward. And don't set it too low either, because you will lack adrenaline. It will seem so simple that you won't want to do it. So try to set the bar at your level, the one that seems right to you, and above all, don't compare yourself to others. Next, divide your tasks into several parts. It is better to divide your objective into several simple and clear steps to avoid anything complex and vague. Then, make a structured to-do list by reasonably indicate what you can do during the day as a main task or subtask in a first column. Next to this, in a second column, write down how much time it might take you. In a third column, write down the time you want to start and the time you want to stop this task. In a fourth column, draw 3 small boxes spaced out, above which you will write, respectively, done, to be finished, and not done. In the last column, write comments. You can start with the most difficult or the easiest activity. It's up to you, but personally, I will start with the most difficult one to get rid of it as soon as possible. This little chart will allow you to visualize the task as a whole, to keep track of it, and to analyze your own behavior. At the end of the day, if you tick off the box done or to be finished, then well done to you. Try to congratulate yourself with positive words and to reward yourself with something that will make you happy. For example, a small piece of chocolate, a gift during a shopping trip, a moment of relaxation. Write in the comments box the good things you say to yourself and what you gave yourself. If you wish, you can also share it with me in the comments just below. On the other hand, if you tick off the not done box, don't punish yourself with negative sentences, but rather write down what you found most difficult to do. Try to analyze why you didn't succeed and put in place corrective actions to take some steps forward. Also, use positive psychology sentences, such as saying to yourself that you may not have succeeded today, but by analyzing the mistakes you made today, you will not do it again tomorrow. As far as time management is concerned, have a clock in front of you. Plan time slots that are conducive to productivity. In other words, choose your optimal times. For example, if you are an early riser, then choose the mornings to get started. Conversely, if you are more productive in the evenings, go for it, but don't forget to pay attention to the length and quality of your sleep, as this can have an impact on your productivity. Leave enough time for contingencies and breaks. Go at your own speed. In rabbit mode or snail mode, it will be your speed. Accept it and don't compare to others. Then, regarding the emotional factors, again and as first step, accept and identify the emotions that arise before making the decision to postpone the task. Is it fear, sadness, anger? If so, what kind is it? Fear of failure, fear of succeeding, fear of how others will look at you? Or is it a sadness following a bereavement, anger following an injustice? It is important to write all this down on a piece of paper and ask yourself why they are there. If you have your answers, then try to transform them into a strength that allows you to move forward, and not into a weakness that blocks you. If you have difficulty in knowing what you have, or if you are unable to make this transformation, then get a therapist who specializes in this field to accompany you. Let's move on to biological factors. As I explained to you, the amygdala warns us of possible dangers, and the cingulate cortex analyzes the data and tells us what to do. Which is great, isn't it? But it's not so good when you see danger everywhere. To find the balance between the amygdala and the cingulate cortex, get help through psychotherapy. Avoid physical activities that are too intense. Adopt a healthier lifestyle. I also advise you to consult your doctor to have a blood test to check if you are not suffering from hormonal disorders or deficiencies or other health problems. For economic or material factors, try to start with the tasks that don't depend on these factors. And for those that do, try to find out if there is any financial or material assistance. This help can come from the government, association, your siblings, or from yourself by saving. It's up to you to see where you can apply for them. Try to avoid distraction and opt for a distraction free working environment. For example, choose a quiet place to work, avoid social networks, turn off your mobile phone, tell people that you are going to work and you don't want to be disturbed for a while. Given the complexity of the task, as we have seen, the trick is to divide it into several subparts, which will be easier to understand and to carry out step by step. If the activity is boring, find ways to make it more fun. For example, by using your imagination and turning the work into a game. In terms of the time the task may take, try not to underestimate or overestimate it, but be reasonable. Again, think about break times and contingencies. Awareness is the first step to freedom. I hope that my video has made you aware of this topic and that you will share it with your families and friends. I'll be happy to welcome you in my psychotherapy sessions, either in my office or at distance, wherever you are in the world. You will find my details on social networks and on links posted on my channel. I'll be happy to read your comments below and answer your question at the email address above. Subscribe to my channel to receive future videos. Till then, take care of yourself.